All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go into game number 1 between Liquid Red and Moonglade. This is going to be a ZVZ starting map. It's going to be Darim Alter.
And what a hard map to play ZVZ on, Andre. There's no small ramp leading into the main, so you can't use strategies like the double queen block to actually protect yourself here. You could be in a bit of a troublesome situation if you try to just play a little bit too risky. That's why we end up seeing things like the actual Sim City with the evolution chamber, some spine crawlers, queens at the natural end up being so important. And of course, you just have to be overly safe on a map like this. You can't play greedy.
Yeah, well, of course, Red is probably going to be the biggest one that's going to be affected by this. We know Red is, or he tends to be somewhat greedy with his drones in every single match that he does, really. But we do have, sorry about that, delayed quad. We have Red in the bottom right-hand position as the blue Zerg. Top right-hand position, we do have Moonglade as the red Zerg. So let's talk a little bit about the positions. We are in close position. ZVZ not really affected all that much by the positions like we see like TVZ or PVZ or something like that.
It could possibly affect it if we get to the mid-game, late-game, if anyone does decide to go for that muta composition as opposed to the infestor composition. Of course, it will be just a little bit easier to get into the main for Ret without being scouted. But of course, with overlords everywhere in ZVZ, usually players do leave those overlords along the attack path, since most Zerg players are not going to have any anti-air armor or army units, that early in the game. They will be able to scout everything coming their way, so probably not going to affect the game too much. But obviously, it is a lot different from being in cross positions, where they just have much more opportunity to make those drones and make the Zerglings, banelings, roaches, whatever it may be, at the last second.
We'll say we can see both these players not opting to go something crazy like a 15 hatch again, playing off of the map in particular. We're not going, well, we didn't expect to see something crazy like that.
Yeah, it would be a huge risk on a map.
Oh, yes. Just because you're delaying the gas just so much, you can't really defend against speedling, baneling openings. It's just really not feasible. So both these players will be playing up. Now, what do you think about infestors on this map in particular? I mean, going into that mid game, we've seen players go just Zerglings, banelings into, something like infestors. It's kind of rare, but we've still seen it. And the big thing is you can poop up a lot of infested Terrans into this natural, let's say, and harass pretty nicely.
You can.
But go ahead.
Well, what I think is that I think this is actually one of the few maps where infestor usage, you can get away with not using infestors. I think muta play might be not necessarily better than infestors, but better than it might be on other maps, because it's so wide open, there's so much space. Having that more mobile army can be very beneficial, but it's so risky. If you do get hit by that one fungal growth and all your mutas are stuck, you're in a lot of trouble, man. So you got to be really careful. I think infestors are usually the right choice coming into the mid game, but I have seen players use mutas on this map to great success. And of course, with the huge wide open areas in the center, if you go for engagements, if you have fantastic micro and can split up your army very well and go for a really huge surround, then obviously the infestor fungals aren't going to be quite as big of a deal. So the map can work out against infestors' favor, but I still think overall, in general, they are the best strategy to use if you're coming into the mid game. Now, of course, we often do see that ZVZ just ends up being Zergling, baneling, Zergling, baneling. But, hopefully we won't just see that from these players. We do see the baneling nest already on the way, though, from Ret.
Yep, and he was mining gas. I like what he did. He actually took off a couple from gas when that Zergling was initially about to come in there. Of course, it got killed, so he actually just resumes mining from there. 2 on that gas for now. So this is going to be kind of halfway pressure. He will get banelings in here. It looks like the first Zergling does see that baneling nest. He will do a little bit of pressure with these Zergling banelings, but behind this, I'm pretty sure he will be droning up. That is the Ret style after all. Absolutely.
He really does love his drones, but this is the strength. I mean, obviously, generally you want to get your drones first and Zerglings at the last possible moment, but with Zergling, baneling, getting those Zerglings first, being able to come up here, morph in those banelings ahead of time when Moonglade's not quite ready to morph in his, can give him a nice timing advantage here. And then, of course, he knows he's completely safe. He can drone up. Right now he's going for an engagement on these Zerglings, but there are queens here, so he's got to fall back. But the 2 banelings are about to pop. Moonglade's got to be so careful. He doesn't know exactly when they're about to finish. Now they are out. Going to move forward towards this arm. The queens need to target fire the banelings right now. They're not target firing the banelings. Oh no, the banelings are going to get into the Zerglings of Moonglade, but they're not exploding. What is Red doing? What is he doing with this micro? Now one baneling gets target fired. Both the banelings do die, and Moonglade takes a huge advantage there. That was just unfortunate micro by Red. He could have exploded those banelings with very nice, efficient explosions, and unfortunately missed them.
The queen dies, but that's a pretty nice price to pay for how many larvae that he killed. You can see banelings being morphed on the top. Moonglade has to back up because he's just scared. He doesn't know when those banelings actually start. But look at that. Liquid Red didn't actually make any queens from this second hatchery. He did an all-in off of that 2 base, and I think that was incorrect, of course. Now we can see, oh no, Moonglade losing a lot of banelings here.
Yeah, he's got to be really careful. One's about to pop out, though. It does get a couple of those banelings of Rhett, as well as some Zerglings. There are only 2 banelings here, though, from Moonglade. Rhett's going to fall back over here into his natural. He does have 1 baneling. Nice explosion. Looks like 5 Zerglings there. He's got to be careful with the micro, though. He's actually got 5 of his on that 1 baneling. He's got to be more careful. Moonglade could explode those, but he's actually just going for the drone line right now. And it looks like Moonglade has a pretty big army advantage right now, but of course, Rhett does have reinforcements on the way. 12 more leaves. He's got to be careful. Those drones just took a ton of damage. This Zergling does get 1 of the kills. No more. This Bane's just trying to run by into the mineral line, but obviously not going to be successful by itself there. So Moonglade's got to be a little more careful with that micro. It's just like Rhett. Unfortunately, of course, he is playing from Australia, so I don't know how that lag could be affecting him.
Yeah, there are a couple of drones that have been squeezed out from Moonglade. It looks like 4 went out now, pumping out those Zerglings. Additionally, he does have the Spine Crawler that will help him quite a bit defensively, and a 3rd Queen. Let's go ahead and look at the income tab. 20 Harvesters to 19, so both these players fairly even in that respect. We can see that the Zergling count is actually going towards Rhett. So right now, Moonglade's just going to have to play a little bit more passively.
Yeah, he does have 25 drones to 21, though. So, I mean, he's in a pretty good position right now where he can just play defensively and be absolutely fine. Of course, Rhett is starting to increase that drone count. Look at that, 6 drones on the way. He feels very confident right now, which I'm surprised by since he has no banelings over here at his natural. He's just relying on Zerglings right now. And, of course, his map control with those overlords to see if Moonglade's ever going to come forward with any pressure. So he sees the lack of pressure. He knows he can drone up because there are not any banelings being morphed near his base. But look at that, 9 drones on the way from Moonglade, so he's going to continue getting ahead. Red is going to take out the rocks, so he can go ahead and take that 3rd, but he is going to start falling behind on the drone count here. Unfortunately, it looks like he might have gotten supply block there, made those 3 overlords at the same time, and it looks like while droning up, he will be changing tech over into roaches just about at the exact same time that Moonglade is.
Yep, the big difference is that Moonglade has been mining off of gas. We can see a pretty big surplus, whereas Rhett is still not mining gas. He's stuck at 177. Now he can just go ahead and maximize his economy that way. Obviously, prioritize the minerals, make sure that he's getting a great saturation, then going over to gas. We'll see if that actually affects, though, his roach count, because obviously he wants to be banking up a little bit of gas for now in order to start massing up very excessively later on.
Yeah, of course, you will be able to get that upgrade from the Evolution Chamber. +1 is on the way for both players, but as you said, Moonglade does have much more gas. Look at 300 gas he had saved up there. Now just going to make 3 roaches, so he'll be completely safe against things like banelings, etc., and he's going to go ahead and rush that lair out. So if we do see Moonglade drop the quad gas over at his natural, he does have a 3rd one up, but not mining from yet. If we see him do that, it's possible he'll rush up to those infestors. For now, he wants to be safe, so he's probably just going to go ahead and continue increasing that roach count. Meanwhile, Rhett is continuing to make drones. Look at that, 8 more drones on the way. He already has the advantage. It's 45. Now 46. Oh, it just keeps going up, man. 49 drones to 39 drones. So Rhett already has a huge advantage, but he's continuing to drone. So he's got to be careful. He could get hit by a timing from Moonglade here, but if he stops droning now and just makes nothing but roaches, he'll be in a fantastic position.
Well, here's something weird. A lair is actually coming out. What this signifies to me is that Moonglade is going to take a more passive role in this game. He's actually going for maybe something like infestors. I would be surprised he's actually just looking for the glial reconstitution push. That is kind of off in my opinion. We do see him making drones right now and then scattering in some roaches. So yes, I feel like he's playing a lot more defensive in this game, and you know, ultimately it might come to bite him in the butt because we do see a 3rd coming out from Rhett. That 3rd signifies he's going to take an even more passive but macro abusive type of role, obviously playing towards his player. He's making some great reads, in my opinion. Yeah,
we do see Glial Reconstitution now on the way from, looks like Moonglade. Does Red have it? No, he actually does not have it on the way here. So not going to go ahead and have that roach speed here. We do see the Infestation Pit on the way for Moonglade. None just yet for Red. So, of course, with that 3rd expansion, he is going to be just a little bit behind on his tech there. There is Glial Reconstitution on the way. But with that 3rd base, he will have that huge economic lead. It is actually 51 Harvesters to 54. So Moonglade actually has a slight advantage right now there. But once Red actually sends those drones over, he will be able to get some some better income. The Zergling from Moonglade, nice scouting, sees the third base. He knows what he's up against, but he's going to go ahead and take a third of his own. So he's not just going to try to hit with a big 2-base timing. He is just going to play it standard while he uses those infestors, of course, to be able to play defensively. There is already a pathogen glance on the way. We see +2 range attacks on both players as well. So they're just kind of playing, both of them playing really passively. They want to get up to 3-base, want to get that 6 gas so they can really pump out those infestors.
Yeah, I think infestors obviously so important in this matchup particularly. Now, how do you feel about the infestors dealing significantly less damage with that fungal growth and it being a role in ZVZ?
Well, you know what? I'll be 100% honest. I actually haven't seen that many ZVZs post-patch actually get to the infestor stage so many times. It's just Zergling baneling, so I haven't seen how much it affects.
I haven't seen any of those. You stop it.
So I actually haven't seen how much it affects the matchup, but I know it does affect the way they can kill Zerglings, of course, with the change to armored. I believe it does affect the way you're going to be killing roaches as well. So I mean, it could change. It might mean that these players are going to have to get a higher roach count as opposed to the higher infestor count. But I mean, more infestors are always better, man. More fungals, more infested Terrans. There's no reason not to get more infestors.
Oh yeah, baby. They're always delicious. Now we don't see the burrow up just yet, so these infestors won't be able to do my cute little trick that I was talking about before. Macro hatch going down for Moonglade.
Look at this roach count. Oh my god, look at the unit station, dude. 31 to 12. Red has a huge unit advantage right now because he did not tech up quickly to those infestors. His infestation pit is just now completing, so I'm surprised Red has not gone for a timing. He's done great scouting with those Zerglings poking up into the base of Moonglade. He should have seen my opponent has a really low number of roaches. I could probably just come in with a huge timing on attack. He might have missed that though, since the infestors are now out for Moonglade. That's going to help him immensely to play defensively. You do see 13 more roaches on the way from Ret, 14, so he's going to rally those across the map. Unfortunately, he doesn't have creep thread set up, so it is going to take quite a while. We'll have to see if these fungals will be enough for Moonglade to defend.
Of course, what he wants to do is fungal all the way on this the ramp over
right,
here.
Exactly.
Actually, Ret is going to the top, where it's a lot more open, and Moonglade needs to scramble over. This is the correct position to be attacking from. Red is going to start the engagement.
Yeah, he's going to have an arc here, be able to attack off this hatchery. Fungals go down, so his roaches are out of range of his opponent's roaches. He needs to move forward just a little bit because, of course, Moonglade has more roaches attacking right now. The arc is actually hard to tell. It looks like Red did have a slightly better arc there, but there's no more fungals available for Moonglade, and his roach count is rapidly dropping, but +2 did finish for Moonglade, and Red does have a couple seconds left on his. That could actually give Moonglade the advantage he needs to hold this off for now. It looks like it may very well have. Oh my god. Look at that timing, Andre. That was so unbelievably close.
And on top of that, he's able to keep his infestors, so he will more be able to obviously get a higher infestor count. It looks like a couple of roaches.
Yeah, man, it's going to be building up.
Absolutely. A couple of roaches coming to the natural, force a lot of these drones off the line. Meanwhile, roaches are coming to the top. So Red is actually just out multitasking his opponent right now. Yeah. 167 supply to 109.
Yeah, man, it's 67 drones to 47. Red has taken a huge lead here. This multi-pronged aggression is absolutely fantastic. Moonglade has just seemed unable to defend all places at once since his infestor energy is too low. Now he's forced to drop infested Terrans since these infestors are being target fired. Great job by Red moving over here. He needs to get out of range of those infested Terrans, though unfortunately doesn't have burrows so he can escape. But the income tab, oh my gosh. It's like 1,800 per minute to 800 per minute right now. Moonglade unbelievably far behind. And if Red just keeps pumping these units out, he's going to be in an absolutely fantastic position. He is starting to make infestors, but that roach count has stayed higher all game long.
Yeah, on top of that, look at the upgrades. Moonglade at 2-0, whereas Red is approaching 2-2. As soon as that 2-2 kicks in, which is in just about a little less than a minute, he will have another timing to just really put the pressure on his opponent and keep just shoving it down his throat.
Yeah, I don't know what Moonglade can do right now. If he hadn't lost those infestors, if he had gone for that burrow that you were talking about, he might be in a good position here. But unfortunately, since he lost so many of those infestors, he didn't have that energy building up. That was essentially the only advantage that Moonglade had in this game. Remember that he delayed his third, he delayed his roach count, he delayed his upgrades, all to get earlier infestors. Now, that can be great if you can build up that energy all game long, but since he lost them, I feel like Moonglade is at an unbelievable and possibly insurmountable disadvantage right now.
Yeah, he's going to need some miracle fungals or something to get back into this. We can see 3 infestors on the way right now, but Red is looking to put the pressure on immediately. Now 2-2 has been finished, as we were talking about before, and that's the big timing. We do see Moonglade gearing up. He wants to defend against this accurately. Creep Tumor is going to spot for him. He's going to go up to this position again, but it's not the best position for Moonglade. Now finally the infestor is going to come up here, and one might be taken out immediately. That represents a lot. This is going to be so bad for Moonglade. Now pushing up Rhett is just bearing down so fast on his opponent. The third is going to be forfeit pretty soon, and these roaches are doing immense damage.
This is unbelievably one-sided right now. Unfortunately, Moonglade did lose that Infestor before the fight even started. Fungal's going down, but they won't be enough. Red just has too many units here. He'll be able to take out the third, and there's the GG, so Red's going to take it. Game number 1.
And Rhett takes game number 1 in this best-of-3 series against Moonglade. I have to say, Rhett just had the smarter, more intelligent build going into, that 2-base, 3-base place.
That was a really solid play by him. He got the drones up just a little bit earlier than Moonglade, and what was critical there was that he actually got the third base up and running quicker. Now, Moonglade, what he was doing made sense to get those infestors out. If his opponent was going for a big 2-base roach timing, he would have been in trouble. But since Red was going for the third, going for the earlier infestors off 2-base, you're only on 4 gas. It's really not efficient. So it made a lot more sense what Red was doing. Make sure he gets up 6 gas before teching 2 infestors. That way he was able to get up a huge roach count that Moonglade wasn't really able to deal with. He was able to stay alive there for a time thanks to that +2 weapons upgrade, finishing just a couple seconds earlier than Red. But critically, Red had a great move to send some of his roaches into the natural, pick off some of those drones, man.
Let's talk a little bit about the subtleties of how he took that third base too. He did it before the lair timing, and this is a really important thing. He actually did the +1 missile attack, and a lot of people will be like, why would you go +1 missile attack if you didn't go to actually attack and do a timing? It was a defensive timing. A lot of players do go something like, this mass roach Zergling and just streams of units coming into your base. With that +1, it really makes the Zerglings a lot more manageable. It's easy to kill them, obviously 2 shots to the roaches. So he actually just does that defensively, gets that third, and all of a sudden he's playing his game, the economic game.
Another subtlety that was in there was, of course, if you remember, just really minor, but Red was not mining gas, remember, for that short time? While his Evo Chamber and his Roach Warren were on the way, but he had enough gas to start that +1, of course. That not mining gas actually makes a huge deal. Correct. He had more minerals. He was able to get the third down. He could afford it, and he could produce more drones.
And we were really skeptical on that. Like, why go that very fast +1? Then, as soon as he reveals his build, it all makes sense. Yeah. Rhett showing why he's such an intelligent player. We're going to go into game number 2 right now and see if Moonglade can turn it around. Join us. We'll be back after this break.